dando tudo certo. Ela senta aí. E aí eu vou ficar de boas aqui, só assistindo. Porque sem encostar no canto, né? Agora eu vi muita gente falando que vai ver ela chegar e tal, e depois vai correr pra fila do autógrafo, vai sair antes pra ir pra fila do autógrafo. Tô te vendo, se eu tô com a senha. Porque eu faria isso. Vou nem questionar a máscara ser dourada, não prateada, mas tudo bem.
Bom dia! Meu nome é Frida, sou editora de aquisições, sou historiadora, é um prazer estar aqui com vocês hoje. E com a minha Maiara maravilhosa, fazendo a edição de livros. Ela e minha irmã para isso. E eu vou fazer entrevistas, eu sei, com uma pessoa, gente, muito especial. Primeira Bienal da Bahia dela. Já veio a Salvador antes, mas nunca aqui na Bahia, vai ser muito especial. E eu vou traduzir como for falando, tá? Então, assim, tem paciência comigo. Vamos falar agora. Julia Quinn!
I live in Seattle, and that's where I go. And I got a phone call from my agent, and he said, "Have you heard of Shonda Rhimes?" Yes. And he said, "Well, she just called and wants to turn the Bridgerton series into a television show," and I just about fainted. This was Shondaland, and I trusted them. They know what they're doing, and I'm not going to tell Shonda Rhimes how to make television. And the second reason was that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Nobody from Hollywood had ever tried to make a television show out of a romance novel before, except for, their Hallmark movies.
Deixa eu vir pra mais perto, pra ficar mais perto da caixa de som, porque eu não tava ouvindo direito.
Old are you in that process? Because you gave up creative control, but we know you've been to the sets and you've been at the shows as well as a cameo, right? So
Yes. I'm not very involved, but I am a consultant. And what that means is I do see the scripts ahead of time. I do have the first 4 scripts for next season. Four scripts. Yeah. And no, I won't tell you anything about them, except that they're very good. So, I could bring things up, but I'm not involved in the actual development. And, except that, I do have a conversation with Jess Brownell, who's the showrunner, about once a year. And she, we just talk about what's coming on the horizon and what things do I think need to be emphasized and what do I want to make sure happens. So, I'm involved in a very kind of, macro way, just sort of saying, well, this is important and that's important, but I'm not there writing the scripts or anything. The family tree is very well documented. But what we don't know is if she presented as biracial, if she looked like she had any African ancestry, or if she just looked white, and we will never know. But what the creators of Bridgerton did was they said, okay, let's say she did look biracial. And let's say that this was something that the court accepted and did not try to hide. Because I guess one other thing that we do know is that if she did look biracial in real life, the English court did not want to promote that, and they hid it. So they said, well, what if it was obvious, everybody accepted this as who she was, how would that have changed society? And then they just took it from there. And I thought it was a brilliant way of making the Bridgerton world more diverse and inclusive.
that's about how Charlotte influenced the whole society. How cheering for Michaela.
I think we can love them both.
Yes, yes, gente, vamos amar os dois, gente. A verdadeira definição de tanto faz, não é mesmo?
Exato.
I would love for you to take this moment to walk us through that big change in the story and how you feel about it.
So I did find out about this big change about 18 months before the rest of you. So I had a lot of time to sit with it. You know, they came and the people who work on the show came and said, you know, this is what we are thinking about doing. And I'd always been aware that probably one of the stories was going to be queer. I didn't know which one they were going to do. And when they talked about, you know, the reasons why they wanted to have Francesca be queer, I thought it made a lot of sense because to me, the most important aspects of her story in the book are that she feels very guilty for falling in love again because she loved John so much, and she's still grieving. And then also in the book, Michael feels guilty and he's grieving too. And with those as the most important aspects of the story, I didn't see any reason why that couldn't be a love story between two women. Francesca loved John and how important he was and how special their relationship was. And I think they did that. Because they've already said that the next 2 seasons will be either Francesca and Eloise or Eloise and Francesca, and now we know it's Francesca and Eloise. And then I hope the rest will. I mean, right now we are confirmed through season 6, and you know, it's really up to the viewers. If we keep watching, I think they'll do all 8.
People who are starting out.
Oh, well, there's 2 parts to that. There's the creative tips and then the business tips. The business tips are easy, actually, and that is don't ask me. Because I don't know anymore. It's been so long since I sold my first book that I have no idea how one goes about getting started in the business anymore, and it's a totally different business. I mean, when I sold my first book, I did not even have an email address. So if you're trying to break into the business, I recommend finding people who have started much more recently and finding groups where you can get advice. And then in terms of the creative process, I just like to tell people to remember that there's not only one right way to write a book. There's so many different ways to write a book, and you need to find what works for you. Because what works for me or what works for another author may not be the process that's going to work for you. And so, you know, if you do attend a writing class or a lecture and an author says, this is how I do it, don't be discouraged if you try it and it's a disaster, because you need to find your own process.
Foi feito por Kickstart, eles já fizeram, mas ainda dá para poder fazer. E os livros vão começar a ser...
You can say no. You can say, no, I don't want my child reading that, but you don't get to go to the library and say that other people's children can't be reading it. You may be super religious and believe certain things are wrong, but you don't get to decide that for me. The hardest one to plot was Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, and that's because it was the first, and I think maybe the only, well, certainly the first time I was working with 2 characters who were already well established. Usually you have one character that people know and you bring in someone completely new and you can mold them into what you need. And with Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, Colin and Penelope with very real and set personalities and also very real and set stories. So every time I come up with a new idea, I'd be, oh, no, I can't do that because, you know, Colin was out of the country or Penelope was doing this. And so it took a really long time to find the right story.
Yeah, writing can be very lonely. You, your words, your notebook, so your laptop. What's the feeling to know that there are people all over the world that connect with your stories? Do you feel that impact beyond the numbers?
I do feel it, and it's amazing. I don't really know what else to say, but it's a remarkable feeling, and it's, yeah, it's really,
Did you ever imagine when you were writing the first one that you'll be here today across the globe?
No, I think when I wrote the first one, I'd been maybe translated into 2 or 3 languages, certainly not Portuguese, and just had no idea I'd have this kind of worldwide success or worldwide reach.
Esse efeito em pessoas. Pessoas, levanta a mão.
Of my books?
From your books.
No, each book is special in a different way, and it could be a scene, it could be a character, it might be what was happening in my life when I wrote it, which you as the reader wouldn't know, so they're all special to me.
Lorena wants to know, did you choose the stories for each brother and sister from the Bridgerton as you were writing them, or everything beforehand, like you knew everything before?
It's a combination. Most of it was when I was writing it, but I did know that Colin and Penelope would end up together early on. That was one of the only ones that I knew ahead of time because I had both characters. If you notice, everybody else kind of fell in love with someone new who gets brought in, but that one was planned.
Your historical research for writing your books, do you have a team or you do all by yourself?
I pretty much do it myself, and there's really 2 levels of research you need to do. There's kind of the big overarching research, which is, for example, I wrote a book that was set on a boat or a ship. That's the other Miss Bridgerton. And as I was starting that, I realized I did not know anything about ships. And so I had to do a lot of research, for the whole of that book. And then you also have the type of research which are the very small details where you're writing, and I had in Hyacinth's story, I think Gareth makes a joke about Little Bo Peep. And I was so proud of myself because I thought it was a funny joke. And then I thought, oh no, what's the earliest known reference of Little Bo Peep? Then I found out it actually is in Shakespeare, so I'm good. And that's a little thing that, does the book need it? No. If it wasn't there, it would be fine. But I think when you add up all these little details, it makes the book that much more special. So there's the teeny little ones, and those I generally do as I go along and as they come up. And then there's the bigger ones, which have a lot more to do with the whole of the story, and that is kind of, I might do a lot of that at the beginning, but also still as I go along too.
Gente, que mesa foda, que mulher foda. Ela fez exatamente o que eu gosto de escritores, que quando perguntaram sobre dicas para ela de escrever, quando perguntaram para ela sobre dicas criativas, ela falou que a dica criativa dela é que você pode buscar todas as dicas de escrita que você quiser. O que você não pode é achar que só porque a que você tentou seguir não deu certo, que você não serve. Existem milhares de formas de escrever um livro e você tem que continuar tentando e encontrando seu próprio percurso, que é exatamente o que eu falo. E quando ela falou que ela não vai ensinar a Shonda Rhimes a escrever televisão, que ela abriu mão do controle criativo e ela tem reunião com a Jess Browner, que é a showrunner, uma vez no ano, no máximo. E, ela fala o que ela considera importante. E teve um ponto. Ela falou que pra ela era importante. Eu até vou escrever sobre isso também. Já tinha que ter escrito, mas enfim. Que ela falou que pra ela era importante na história da Francesca que ficasse bem claro que ela amava o John. Que ela tinha esse amor pelo John. E na hora da tradução, a Frini falou que ela falou apaixonada pelo John. Existe uma diferença nisso, e eu vou até escrever sobre isso, em se tratar de amor também. Quando perguntaram sobre a storyline da fertilidade, ela falou que é spoiler para a próxima temporada, então... E que mais? O que mais que eu lembro? Isso, ela falou que ela abriu mão do controle criativo assim que a Shonda Rhimes foi atrás dela, porque ela não vai ensinar a Shonda Rhimes como fazer televisão, que é exatamente o que eu acredito. Enfim. Agora eu vou, mais uma vez, no banheiro. E de lá eu vou pro espaço autógrafo. para fazer autógrafo. Tá de boa. Tá de boa essa fila, imagina. Eu deixei meu o silêncio ficou. Eu deixei meu tablet no lounge porque a mochila tava muito pesada e agora me arrependi porque eu vou ficar aqui tranquilo uma hora e eu podia estar lendo. Vou ler esse aqui de novo. Tô revisando mentalmente o que eu vou dizer pra ela, que eu tô há 3 meses planejando o que eu vou dizer pra ela. Eu tô revisando mentalmente. Vou gravar o que eu pensei em falar pra ela, porque se sair tudo embolado na hora, vocês vão entender o que eu ia falar. Vamos lá. I just wanted to thank you because your books were very important to me during the pandemic because of the collective grief and the personal grief. And I also wanted to thank you as a queer woman for all your support for Michaela and as a woman of color for your support for Masali because it's just very important to see her being supported by the author who created the universe of the books. É um ponto específico aqui da fila que o sinal de celular fica ruim. É um ponto específico. É aqui que o sinal de celular fica ruim. Se eu ficasse 2 horas andando aqui, minhas costas doeriam menos do que ficar parada em pé. E aí andando um pouquinho, e aí parada em pé. E aí andando um pouquinho. Ai. Tem oficialmente 1 hora que ela tá autografando. Ali, tá vendo? Se meu túnel do carro tá doendo. Imagina se fosse eu. Tava aqui pensando, pra mim, sabe qual é a maior vantagem do lounge? Nem a comida, né? Nem a água, nem nada. É o silêncio. Porque eu sempre achava um canto pra sentar e ficava sentada no chão na Bienal. Mas não tem silêncio. E no lounge, normalmente fica todo mundo quieto. A menos que esteja tendo alguma coisa dentro do lounge. Mas normalmente fica todo mundo nos seus próprios celulares agitando algumas coisas. E isso pra mim é tão importante pra me recarregar. Enfim, estamos quase lá. Deve faltar umas 80 pessoas. Eu não sei fazer conta. Oh, mas é meu pintor aqui. Do povo que não conseguiu senha porque ficaram esperando lá de fora. O que eu faria também, eu faria a mesma coisa se eu não tivesse conseguido senha. E aí agora elas foram, o pessoal da organização foi lá fora pra dizer ela realmente não vai atender, ela não tem como atender. E assim, véi, tipo, ela assinou de boas uns 500 livros hoje. Vai assinar ainda mais, não chegou em mim. Aí, tipo, o pessoal ficou lá fora esperando, né? Aí agora falaram que realmente não vai atender e tem gente lá fora chorando e tal. 1, 2, 3, testando, 1, 2, 3, testando. Tá bom, tá ok. Ó, o meu você pode filmar deitado e aí tirando as fotos aqui já tá. Obrigada.
Oh my gosh, your t-shirt.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
I really wanted to thank you because your books meant a lot to me during the epidemic and because of all the grief, the personal and the private gift. And also thank you for being so openly proud and talking about Michaela and Masali because
What are these colors for?
bisexual.
Bisexual, thank you.
Yes.
There's so many different flags, and sometimes I can't remember which ones are which. Okay,
Bisexual.
that is an awesome.
Thank you. I
forgot my English stickers, so I only have the.
That's perfect.
Do you read in English?
Yes, I prefer to read in English. I sometimes read the translated version after, just so I know like the differences. But yeah, I prefer to stare.
Well, I've read the beginning. I think you'll like the next one.
Thank you. Gente, ela pediu pra tirar foto com a minha blusa. Ela pediu uma foto especial da minha blusa especificamente. Pra tirar foto com a minha blusa. Ela pediu pra tirar foto com a minha blusa. Ela amou minha blusa. Ela pediu pra tirar foto com a minha blusa. Tá, me acalmei. Agora eu vou descer de novo pra poder relaxar minhas costas. Ainda barrei com ela no negócio. Feliz. Aí tá muito cheio. Surreal. Mulder já tá vindo ver a gente aqui no lounge. Toda vez que uma porta abre, todo mundo acha que é ela.
Amazing creators from Brazil all over, and so do you want to say like what you think about the Bienal or?
So this is I think the third time I've been to a Bienal in Brazil. I've been to Rio twice and now here in Bahia. And it's so amazing. I've honestly never been to anything like this in the United States. I think we're a bit behind you. We're just getting started with all these book cons, and it's just the energy is amazing, and it's so exciting to be somewhere where everybody's so happy.
Precisa de tradução? Vocês precisam? Não. Alguém não precisa? Então tá bom. Então eu vou ignorar o fato, tá? Because they don't need translation. I'm like, awesome!
So who here isn't from Bahia? Okay, so just a few. Oh wow! So thank you for coming.
So do you want to share with them?
But after Francesca will be Eloise.
We haven't confirmed that we'll have an Eloise season.
Yes.
And how are you feeling? You've told someone what to expect from Francesca's season, that it was very like angsty.
Oh yeah, well of course the book is the angsty one, so yeah.
But you read it a couple of times.
Yeah, it's really good.
So we're excited. We should be completely excited about it.
Always.
Yeah.
We are. Yes. It'll be great. They're all great. Come on.
So, foto, gente, todo mundo.